It was about probably 12 years ago that my brother very kindly gave me this Thermaltake Soprano as a Christmas present. Since then, it has hosted, I think, no less than 4 of my PC builds. But in modern times, the airflow is restrictive. It's missing the screw fans, the screws which held in the fan here, which we had to take out because my old cooler press was so big, it literally pressed up against the side here. The manifolds are looking a bit dated, as most modern cases don't include all of that scaffolding anymore. And in getting a 1080 GTX graphics card, it is larger than the manifold space, and I've had to do some interesting things to make that fit, which I will show you later in this video. So today we're going to be taking this out and we'll be putting it into my new case. One of the things I've always disliked about this case is I'm not particularly good at cable management, but I haven't found this the easiest case to work with in terms of cable management. There's not a lot of space between the back plate and the other side cover for the case, so you can't really run cables through there. It just wasn't something that was as considered. Now, my brother could do an immaculate job with a case like this, but I'm not he, and I've always struggled with making the cables go where I want them to because I've got big sausage fingers. So my new case should hopefully address some of those issues by having compartments along the bottom of the case which host the power supply and will hide most of the nest of cables, but will also allow the SATA cables that run from the ports underneath the graphics card down there to go under the new cable management area and to where the hard drives are going to be. So that should help control a lot of this nest of wires. Another main thing is going to be airflow. The manifold doesn't particularly help with that, cables are going to get in the way, and the new case doesn't have a big plastic door on the front, and even if this one was left open, it doesn't really offer a lot in the way of airflow. It's designed to pull us all up from down there, which is a poor design these days and doesn't really help keep the case cool. And this one's only ever had the one outlet fan here, the one intake fan there, and it used to have an outtake fan on the window that I showed you earlier. The new case will have 2 at the front, it's got 1 at the back, and I'm planning to reutilize the case fans from this to install in the top of the new case. Okay, so let's start taking this out. So one of the first things we want to do is remove all of the cables so that we can get those out of the way and remove the hardware. I don't think I've ever removed this back fan. Of course, I really should have. That is not good. I need to take better care of my new case, and I'll be cleaning that before I put it into the new case as well. I don't think there's a fan I've ever actually removed from the case. Tempted to clean from the front and the outside as I did with the other. I've had a hoover to them a couple of times, but I think clearly every now and again it is worth pulling all your fans out, because that gets quite bad. I mean, I've seen worse, but I'm still quite embarrassed by the state of that. As promised, I'm going to show you some of the modifications that I did to this case, and I say modifications in the loosest term. It's it was previously the manifold used to be. The video actually cut out while I was talking about this. So yes, the manifold used to be more in this sort of position. My brother had originally cut it out here back probably in about 2010-ish. To fit in another graphics card I had that was too big and fit into the slot he cut there. When I got my 1060 many years later, it actually fit into the space happily between the front of the case, or what I say, back of the case, and the manifold, so I didn't actually have to align it or anything. But then when I got my 1080, it was a lot bigger than 1060. I wasn't expecting it to be, so I had to bend the manifold out of place. I've since bent it sort of back into shape, just to show you the original cutting that was done to make space for the other graphics card. But yeah, this case has pretty much had it. I've loved it. It's been a great case. As I said previously, it served me for about 4 separate builds, but it's time for it to go. It's missing its top I/O. That was damaged and lost many years ago when it wasn't even in service to me. That was I was loaning the case out to somebody else, and that got destroyed. Nobody uses CD drives anymore, so there's just literally no need. That's just dead space. And yeah, it's had its day, but it's done me proud. I've loved it. I'm gonna miss it, but I'm looking forward to the new case. And here she is, the new case. MSI Forge 100R MAG. Yum power! Yes, this is the rock it comes in. It's optimized airflow, but it only comes with 3 of those directions. I'll be adding the 4th. ARGB fan included. This should actually have 2 of those 2 there. Mystic lights. We'll see if that actually works. So I do have mystic lights on my motherboard, and we'll see if that actually works to control those fans. Comes with a built-in board control, tempered glass, and the magnetic filter on top. So let's get it out of the box. And there she is out of the box. I am looking forward to putting my system in this. Oh, that's burst. Warning, tempered glass, handle with care. Okay, shall we do a pill? We're gonna find an area to. Oh, might be easy to do with the screws out, but. Oop. That went well. That was the worst pill in the history of pills. Oh well, should have taken the screws out first. But done. Oh. Okay, let's get it built. Okay, first things first, it's got a set of screws and tempered glass which look like they might be friction release, but just a little bit too tough in there, I think. And as it stated, this is tempered glass, so I need to take care taking the screws out. Okay, so it supports its own weight. Does not support its own weight that well, but I get a second chance at pill redemption. That's a much better pill. Look at that. So yeah, that is basically like a piece of glass you get on a tabletop. Very nice. I'll move that safely to the side for a minute. We can take a look inside. And here we have a little pouch there, which has, I'm assuming, the front panel cables. Let's spin it around. Some, again, look like they should be quick release screws for the case, but they're all a bit tight. Once I get them loose, they come up quite nicely there. Space for 2.5 there, that's the RGB controller. Two 3.5 bays, which I think can be I feel like there's space for another 2.5 bay here somewhere. Got the manual. It's the SSDs can be mounted to the front and side as well. Cool. It looks like this panel can actually come off. So let's get to installing some bits. I'll pause the video for a bit so that I can get acquainted with the nest of wires, and I'll be back shortly. Then a couple of more mundane tasks. Because I've got a 480X motherboard, I'm having to install a couple of risers onto the back of the case so that my motherboard fits. But as you can see, my old fans are installed and they are way cleaner than when I took them out. I've also already installed the power supply into the bottom. That was pretty basic, just slid in, screwed in with the same 4 screws I took out my old system. Okay, now those are in there. The board should probably slide it in fairly nicely. Just make sure the cables are out of the way. Okay, and that looks like it's lined with all the screws. Oops, sorry, bumped my head into the camera there. Let's just get a better angle. Okay, so I'm going to screw this down. Okay, that's all nice and secure. Okay, a quick update. I'm still working on it, but that's the motherboard CPU, with CPU fan reconnected. That's the 2 SSDs. The primary storage drive is down under there. Most of the board cables are plugged in, I think if not all, and it's already looking way nicer than before. Just trying to figure out where a RGB cable goes. Thought it went into the RGB header, but it doesn't because it's got a pin blocked out and plug. So I'm going to see if I can figure that out, and we'll see where we get. Okay, I gave up on that port because there does not seem to be a header at all on my board that takes it, but everything else is now in. So, moment of truth, I'm now going to get it plugged in and powered up. Okay, moment of truth, let's see if... Okay, so, lights, but question is, now how do I get them to sync? Does the light button up top do anything? Okay, that does not seem to be affecting these lights. Oh, it is affecting the bottom one, but it doesn't seem to be changing the top one in any noticeable way. Have to investigate that and see what's going on. Everything else seems to be spinning and powered though. I will turn the monitors on to see if I got a post. Yeah, beats on the windows, so the important stuff seems to be connected. Now I just need to figure out what's going on. Ruby! Okay, there we have it. Turns out that the CPU fan connected to the case's RGB controller was doing some hinky stuff to the fan control. So I put it back on its own included fan controller, and now everything seems to be hunky-dory. And I've got it set to my preferred blue. Isn't that gorgeous? Well, I'm going to get it put together and see how it works with airflow. Well, thank you for joining me for this episode of Rezal Vision. I know it's been a long time since I've had any videos out to you guys, but we got quite excited with this case transfer. Thought you guys would like to see how it went. Turns out the onboard Mystic Light stuff doesn't work. I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong, but I can't seem to control any of my case lights using the software that came with the motherboard. So, shame that, but it doesn't really matter too much. So I've got a switch on the front of the case that allows me to control the lights, and that's all that really matters. It's, in my opinion, a gorgeous case, great airflow. I'm getting between 10 and 20 degrees Celsius cooler temperatures on my CPU on idle, and under load probably between 5 and 10 degrees Celsius less, which is great. It's one of the main reasons I wanted it. The spacing inside my computer is now a lot better, and yeah, I'm loving it. Thank you very much, and hope to see you again.